went to a seminar that was hosted by the wonderful Lisa Mayoki, and it was on leading inclusive teams for high performance. And it was really nice to actually attend a face-to-face seminar for the first time in a really long time. I think during COVID, when, we sort of went online and started to use Teams and Zoom for everything, which are, super great and handy tools, we forgot what it was like to have those face-to-face events. So it was really nice to be back into it and to meet some really incredible people and learn about their experience in this space. The overarching theme of the seminar was really talking through the 5 key pillars of inclusive leadership, and the key takeaways for me, and there were a couple, but if I were to choose, is that the first pillar, or really the first thing that we focused on, was based on the travel principle of you put your own oxygen mask on first before you help others. And to be a genuinely, inclusive leader, you need to make sure you're looking after yourself as well. And that was really interesting because I think that every people leader can attest that in some point in their career, they've felt as though they are unable to be as patient as they might like, or as empathetic as they might like. And it's really interesting to stop and think, well, maybe that's because my cup isn't full. Maybe I'm getting frustrated because I'm burnt out or stressed or whatever it is. And perhaps I need to look at that first before I can properly and truly look after my team. So sort of branching on from that, we spoke about what energizes us. And I love things like this because you can see people's energy shift. You can see their face light up when they talk about things that they're passionate about, that they really enjoy, that they really love. So we had a good chat about that. Things like, getting outdoors, spending time with family. And then that went on to, how well do you know your team, which is pretty important for you to be an inclusive leader. What energizes your team? And if you don't know the answer to that question, potentially you should, if you're truly being an inclusive leader. And if you don't, then what a good opportunity to find out, because they'll have that same experience talking about what energizes them. Their face will light up. You'll see their energy shift, and then you have that knowledge. So you'll know if you identify that someone is potentially a little bit burnt out or just not themselves. You know what energizes them, and you can encourage them to go back to those things and to ensure that they're making time for those things. And the other key point was around listening with fascination. And I think all of us have done active listening to death, and we know what it is, and you nod and you ask questions, and that's good and nice. Listening with fascination is around sort of being really present, dropping everything else and listening to the person who's speaking to you. And we did a little exercise and had the opportunity to be in 2 roles. One was being the listener, and one was being the person being listened to. As the listener, it was a really interesting exercise for me to listen for 5 minutes straight to this person telling their story, and nodding and making eye contact and engaging, all the normal things, but not interrupting at all, not asking any questions at all, waiting to the end to summarize, ask clarifying questions, that kind of thing. And the reason for that is that when someone's talking to you, if you interject, even if it's to ask a question because you're genuinely interested and curious about what they're saying, you're potentially, they might have been on their way to finding a solution or coming to a realization or getting their own clarity, and that state of flow has kind of been interrupted. So that's been a really good takeaway for me. And then being the person being listened to, it was also a really interesting experience because we're so busy all the time. So we communicate in a way that is, the most efficient and the most effective. But to actually sit there and talk about a novel topic, really, and have someone sort of sitting there and listening intently felt really nice. And if we think about our teams and how pressed we are for time, sometimes just sort of refreshing and putting to the front of our mind that when we sit and truly listen to what they're saying, how that makes them feel, and it feels really nice, and it contributes to building a team that's connected, cohesive, and inclusive, which at the end of the day is what the seminar was all about.